Welcome into Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I hope all of you are having fantastic Wednesdays, wherever you may be across this great country or this great land. We've got a lot to get to. I'm going to be live here soon on FS1 for Fox Bet Live. We have renamed Lock It In. I will be live at 4 o'clock Eastern, so in a little over an hour from now, we'll be ready to roll. We have got a lot to dive into, but right off the top, I just saw somebody say I'm an Outkick VIP. How could you not be an Outkick VIP? Go sign up for the Outkick VIP today. You get to hang out with Jason Whitlock and myself, all of the Outkick VIPs on a message board. You get a weekly Zoom call that is exclusive for VIPs. You get to comment on all of our articles. You get to have an Outkick VIP line to call the radio show. And this is it. This is the last week. You get an autographed copy of my book. We are effectively out of the books. We've got to order a lot more. I appreciate the thousands of you who have signed up for Outkick VIP, and I hope you keep rolling in. Off the top, good news. Good news, although you won't hear it very many places, we have peaked again in the number of cases, and it appears that we have peaked close to it in deaths in Florida, Texas, and Arizona. So remember when all the media was running around saying, oh my God, we're going to have a ton of different New Yorks. The South and the Southwest is going to be a replication of what we saw in the Northeast earlier this year. That hasn't happened. It hasn't happened at all. In fact, Texas and Florida are going to have 1/10 the death rate of New York. So we need to reassess, quote unquote, worst case scenarios and start to contextualize them a bit more. There is not going to be a worst case scenario that is anywhere near what occurred in the state of New York. In fact, what we are seeing from Florida and Texas in particular is how abject the failure was from Governor Cuomo, okay? Governor Cuomo, abject failure, impossible to defend what he did in New York, and how New Jersey, Connecticut, Michigan, Illinois, Pennsylvania all followed his lead along with New Jersey. This is an unmitigated disaster. And every single day of results since they had a surge in cases have continued to demonstrate how much of a failure New York was. Florida has now had more cases than New York, confirmed cases. Texas now has almost more confirmed cases than New York. Arizona, on a per capita basis, I believe is close to having more cases than New York as well. California has more cases than New York. None of those states have anywhere near the death rate that New York posted, which is why I keep saying if the media and or politicians really want to figure out what happened with the coronavirus, they need to actually conduct an investigation into Andrew Cuomo and what happened in the state of New York. Because but for what happened in the state of New York, we're talking about the coronavirus as something, and everybody following the lead of the state of New York in the Northeast, we're talking about the coronavirus being less of an impact than the seasonal flu in most parts of this country. The death total that came out of New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Illinois, and Connecticut and Massachusetts, all of those states, there needs to be an investigation into what they did and how they were so incompetent compared to Texas, Florida, California on some level, and certainly Arizona. All right? So, bunch of questions there. The peak has occurred. If you look at the numbers, hospitalizations are declining, and all of the worst case scenarios, all of the talk that we were going to have multiple New Yorks, all of that talk has vanished, or at least should have vanished for anybody looking at the actual data. Okay? This is an important story. Somebody said those states had high totals because it was new and doctors. No, those states had high totals because Andrew Cuomo was a disaster. Because he put infected patients into nursing homes, which is like lighting a match and pouring gasoline all over a room. Okay? they were disasters. They believed in the expert forecast that they were going to need 140,000 hotel rooms, and they actually ended up needing 19 hospital rooms. They actually ended up needing 19,000, okay? There was nowhere necessary, okay? Unmitigated disaster for New York and Cuomo. They should be ashamed of the way they handled this. And again, politicians and media that actually want to spend their time expeditiously and effectively should actually go out and investigate what happened in the Northeast and why it was such a disaster. They didn't even use most of the hospital beds they had access to. They didn't use the hospital ship that came in. They didn't use most of the Javits Center. They built all these hospital beds out that they never actually needed. This was a mess. All right, this should be the number one story in sports. You want me to just pivot to sports? The number one story in sports, I think, should be Aaron Rodgers finally commenting on Jordan Love. And Aaron Rodgers said a couple of interesting things in an interview with Kyle Brandt from the NFL Network. Did you guys see this? He said when he actually found out about Jordan Love being drafted, he went and poured himself 4 fingers of tequila and started drinking. He said he believes, what I've been telling you for a while, that it signals that he's on his way out in Green Bay, and that at 36 years old, he probably has 1 year left. The teams that I would tell you to pay attention for Aaron Rodgers. How about the Patriots? Can you imagine if Aaron Rodgers went to go play for Bill Belichick next year? How about the Dallas Cowboys if they can't get things solved with Dak Prescott? What's going to happen with Drew Brees in New Orleans? Is he going to retire? What about the Raiders? The Raiders right now have Derek Carr, and they also have Marcus Mariota. What if they're not believers in Derek Carr? Could it be a future in black and gray for Aaron Rodgers, who's from the West Coast? I can't believe that all of this isn't a bigger story. Now, to Aaron Rodgers' credit, he called Jordan Love and said, congratulations, I know exactly how you feel. I came in to replace Brett Favre, who had been forever the starting quarterback in Green Bay. I don't want to take away anything from you from a congratulatory perspective, but if you're Aaron Rodgers and your team was in the NFC Championship game and they were playing to go to the Super Bowl, and you were 36 years old and you wanted to get back and win a second Super Bowl and try to finish your career like John Elway did or like Peyton Manning did with a second Super Bowl, wouldn't you want them to go get you young talent at wide receiver that you could use in the first round? That's what he said he was expecting. He was watching the draft live, and I don't blame Aaron Rodgers for being upset. I would be too. They decided to go ahead and move on from Aaron Rodgers instead of doubling down on him. I don't think it was a smart move. What about the Dodgers-Astros? Dodgers-Astros managed to finally turn the story from the Marlins to what was actually going on the field between these two. Joe Kelly came in and looked like Charlie Sheen, Wild Thing. Mitch Wild Thing Williams, I think it was. I thought it was incredible what he did to mow down the Astros and the near benches clearing brawl, the stare down in a socially distanced baseball. Ricky Vaughn, sorry, my bad there. I was thinking of Mitch Williams, who was a reliever back in the day around the time that Major League came out, old school. Rob Dibble and that crew that was on the Cincinnati Reds back in the day when I was a fan. How about him saying to Carlos Correa, "Nice swing, bitch," and that going ahead and clearing out all the benches. We have now, if you are a Dodger fan, we have "Nice swing, bitch" t-shirts that are up on Outkick. I think some of you will like it. My buddy Chad Withrow had the idea, and we popped them up. I think they look pretty cool. If you're a Dodgers fan, I would encourage you to go check it out. But this is what we need in baseball. I think we're going to see a lot more because it's 60-game season. Every game is worth like 3 games. I think the intensity is getting ratcheted up to a higher level. I'm curious to watch tonight because I wish I could bet on whether they're going to be batters hit, on whether they might clear the benches again. This is good for baseball to have us talking about actual on-field results as opposed to the idiot Marlins. But I want to give Rob Manfred credit here, the commissioner of Major League Baseball. I think he's responded pretty well to this mess from the Marlins. In fact, he released data yesterday that was really good. Major League Baseball has conducted 6,400 baseball tests. 90 of players. 99.6% of them have come back negative. 99.6% negative. The only players that have tested positive since the season started are all on the Miami Marlins. This is a failure of the Marlins alone, not a failure of the Major League Baseball plan. And I give Major League Baseball credit for adjusting on the fly, figuring out a way to keep going, and not listening to the Corona Bros and deciding to panic. God forbid they had decided to cancel the season. They kept going. It's the right decision. Okay? So this is, I think, a very good sign. Tomorrow we get the NBA. Saturday we get the NHL. All of those sports are going to be going at once, and all of the attention won't be focused on any one sport anymore, especially with the NFL also getting back to playing as well. Okay, a couple of other things. Speaking of getting back to playing, good news out there. My home state of Tennessee announced that high school football is coming back. They can play a regular season starting in late August, okay? On top of that, and this is a really good sign too, we've got a tally up on Outkick. You can tag Outkick and continue to update us on the latest. 37 states right now are planning on playing high school football in the fall. All right? We've got 5 that say they're going to play in the spring and 8 that still need to decide. But 3,700, what is it? 37 of the 37 of the states are going to play. That is going to be absolutely fantastic. All of these high school players out there deserve to play. All schools should be open, as I have been telling you from the get-go, all right? All schools should be open. All athletes should be playing. I give credit to the governor of Tennessee for bringing sports back. All the other 36 governors who are allowing high school football to be played, all of them are making really, really, really good decisions in terms of looking at the data, recognizing that young people aren't in risk. You don't have to play, but if you want to play, you have the ability to do so, okay? 37 states playing high school football. Speaking of playing, Coach O, who has become a legend at LSU, one of the things I was most wrong about from an opinion perspective in college football was what would happen with Coach O at LSU. I never foresaw this occurring, that he would come in and have maybe one of the greatest seasons in the history of college football. Certainly nobody saw Joe Burrow turning into an offensive juggernaut, winning the Heisman Trophy, all of the positive things that have happened for LSU. Coach O was talking to the media today, and he said, quote, "You call us at midnight." He was asked when they would be ready to play at LSU. And at LSU, he said, "You call us at midnight, we'll play in a pasture." Coach O, asked when LSU would be ready to go, said, quote, "You call us at midnight, we'll play in a pasture." I absolutely love that quote. They are ready to roll in Louisiana. They are ready to play football all over the SEC for sure. I think also in the Big 12. I know a lot of you listening right now find yourselves in the Big 10 or even the Pac-12 or ACC country. We are ready to go. You call us at midnight, we'll play in a pasture. A couple of other things. Lamar Jackson has gone public and said that he wants Antonio Brown on the Ravens. It's an intriguing idea. Intriguing idea to bring back Antonio Brown to the Ravens. He would definitely be a help because the Ravens aren't necessarily that great at wide receiver. They tended to focus their tight ends as the linchpins of that offense. But I'd be a little bit nervous of what Antonio Brown in the locker room might mean if he wasn't getting the football enough. We already saw him blow up the Pittsburgh Steelers locker room with a young quarterback and with a young team. If I were the Ravens, as much as I might like Antonio Brown's on the field ability and playmaking, I do not want to bring him into the locker room and create a new division or a stir with a team that seems like it's playing really, really well as they enter year 3 of the Lamar Jackson era. Now, hate to brag, but remember what my Titans did to the Ravens just a few months ago up in Baltimore to break everything and break their spirit. Just tossing it out there. I don't think Antonio Brown's talent is worth the risk given what's going on right now in Baltimore. Finally, a woman had an obituary in Buffalo. I got to give her a tip of the cap. I was very impressed to see it. She's a longtime Buffalo Bills fan. In her obituary, I don't know if you guys saw this, she wrote that she hated Tom Brady and loved cigarettes. She had smoked millions of them in her life. I respect that kind of hate, that even when you are dead and buried, you want your hate for Tom Brady to be broadcast widely. I don't blame her based on how many games the Brady Patriots took from the Bills. Crazy stat for you. I'm about to use this on Lock It Into, but here's a preview. In 17 of the 18 seasons that he has been healthy and played in the NFL, Tom Brady has won the division. I want to repeat that stat to you because that'll explain why this woman hates Tom Brady so much that she put it in her obituary. In 17 of the 18 seasons that Tom Brady has played in the NFL, not lost to injury, everything else, played in the NFL, full season, 17 of the 18, his team has won its division. That's why I love the idea of what Brady's going to be able to accomplish with the Bucs. All right, I love all of you. My name is Clay Travis. Got to go get ready for TV now. DBAP unless you need to. SBAP. My name is, as I said, Clay Travis. Go subscribe to the Outkick podcast. July is already a record month for downloads. We have tripled the number of downloads we get for the Outkick podcast since March. Unheard of. Probably the fastest growing podcast anywhere in the country. I appreciate all of you and your support for Outkick. I'll see you on television here in a little bit. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. I'm Clay, and I'll see y'all. See ya. Appreciate you, Facebook. Appreciate you guys. See y'all.